Hello, everyone. Today we are going to take a long journey into one of the most iconic and influential books of the 20th century. This is not a conventional reading experience. It is more like watching a sweeping historical saga unfold before your eyes. The book is Quotations from Chairman Mao Tse-Tung, often called the Little Red Book. It is not a novel. It is not a treatise in the ordinary sense. It is a collection of Mao's words that became a script for revolution, a manual for building a new society, and for millions of people, a source of daily guidance. Imagine it as a documentary series. Each chapter is an episode, and together they form a saga of struggle, sacrifice, transformation, and vision. The curtain rises with Mao's definition of revolution. He tells us immediately, revolution is not a dinner party. It is not a polite gathering. It is an eruption, a storm, an overturning of the old by the new. This sets the tone like the opening act of a war epic. We are no longer in a world of calm reforms. We are in the world of fire and steel, of the oppressed confronting their oppressors. From this moment, the narrative follows a clear arc: the people, the party, the army, and the long march toward liberation. The true protagonist of the story is the people. Mao compares them to the sea, vast and deep, while revolutionaries are the fish that swim in it. Without the sea, there can be no fish, and without the people, no revolution. The masses are not extras in the background. They are the main cast, the heartbeat of the unfolding story. Every chapter echoes with their presence. Farmers in fields, workers in factories, students in classrooms, all rising with a new energy. But the sea is stormy. The central conflict emerges, the clash of classes. Mao presents society as a battlefield where two irreconcilable forces meet. On one side stand the oppressed, the peasants, the workers, the poor. On the other side stand landlords, imperialists, and exploiters. The drama is clear. Only through struggle can one world be destroyed and another created. This is not a side story. It is the engine that drives the entire saga. At this point, the Communist Party steps into view. Without leadership, Mao warns, the energy of the people can scatter like waves against rocks. The party is the compass, the rudder steering the ship of revolution. It provides unity, clarity, and direction. We see it not as a bureaucratic machine, but as a living vanguard, always tied to the people, learning from them while guiding them forward. Here, the narrative emphasizes discipline and unity. A scattered army cannot win. A disorganized movement will falter. Through criticism and self-criticism, through correction of mistakes, the party strengthens itself. Mao portrays leadership not as command from above, but as service from within. Leaders eating the same food, walking the same muddy roads, enduring the same hardships as the masses. The story now introduces another vital force, the People's Army. Mao's famous line echoes, "Political power grows out of the barrel of a gun." But this army is not like traditional armies. Its soldiers are peasants in uniform. Men and women who farm by day and fight by night, who share both bread and bullets with the people. The People's Army is both shield and sword, inseparable from the society it defends. It is portrayed as a character of its own, sometimes weary, sometimes hungry, but always resolute. With the army comes the strategy of people's war. Mao paints it vividly, a war not fought by soldiers alone, but by entire communities. Children run as messengers, women sew uniforms and carry supplies, old men forge tools, farmers hide fighters in their barns. The whole society becomes a stage of struggle, blurring the line between civilian and soldier. This vision turns war from a clash of armies into a drama of entire peoples rising together. Yet Mao warns against dependence on outside powers. He insists on self-reliance. This is shown like a recurring motif in the film, villages spinning their own cloth, forging their own weapons, growing their own food. In scenes of scarcity, creativity shines. Bamboo sharpened into spears, fields turned into fortresses, hunger endured with grim determination. Self-reliance becomes not only survival, but pride. Through all of this, Mao emphasizes the personal character of revolutionaries. They must live simply, rejecting corruption and luxury. He describes them as men and women who eat plain rice, wear coarse clothes, share fire and shelter with the people. This image of austerity becomes cinematic. A group of young soldiers, laughing around a campfire in ragged uniforms, dreaming of a better world. In this, their strength lies not in wealth, but in spirit. As the first act of this saga closes, the foundation is clear. Revolution is born of the people, guided by the party, defended by the army, sustained by self-reliance, and uplifted by moral simplicity. The stage is set for the great struggles to come. The middle act begins with unity. A revolution can crumble if factions tear it apart. Mao insists that unity is survival, that selfishness and division are poison. But unity is not uniformity. Contradictions must be faced. He allows room for criticism, for debate, even for struggle within the movement. Like fire-hardening steel, these contradictions, when handled well, can make the movement stronger. Then comes one of Mao's most memorable calls: serve the people. This is presented almost like the moral heart of the story. The measure of a revolutionary is not what he gains, but what he gives. To live for the people, to die for the people. This becomes the highest honor. In a dramatic scene we might imagine, a fallen comrade's last words are not for himself, but for the cause of the masses. This ethos transforms sacrifice into meaning. Next, the spotlight shifts to youth. Mao portrays them as restless, fearless, unwilling to accept the chains of the old world. They are the vanguard of tomorrow, the inheritors of the revolution. But he warns, passion without guidance can burn wildly. Education is essential, but it must combine theory with practice, books with labor, ideas with action. Imagine classrooms where students learn not only from teachers, but from the soil, from building bridges, from organizing villages. This is education as transformation, not mere instruction. Culture enters as another battlefield. Literature, theater, painting, and song are no longer luxuries for the elite, but weapons for the masses. Art must reflect the workers, peasants, and soldiers. A play performed in a village square can stir more hearts than 1,000 rifles. A song sung by soldiers on the march can carry more strength than a speech. Mao insists that art serve the people. In doing so, he redefines culture as a tool of revolution. But ideals must face reality. How can a besieged movement survive when resources are scarce? Mao's answer is again self-reliance. He describes villages producing their own food, soldiers repairing their own weapons, whole communities turning scarcity into resilience. It is a portrait of collective survival, where every small act of labor contributes to the larger struggle. This theme builds tension. Not every battle is fought with guns. Many are fought with plows, hammers, and hands. War and peace now stand in sharp contrast. Mao acknowledges the tragedy of war, the suffering it brings. But he also argues that without war to break the old chains, peace cannot be born. True peace must rest on justice, not submission. It is a sobering vision, war as the painful midwife of peace. Here, the narrative darkens, filled with images of sacrifice, hardship, and longing for a better future. As this middle act closes, the story has deepened. We have moved from the foundation of ideas to the storms of struggle, from unity and sacrifice to the shaping of culture, education, and survival. The saga now prepares for its global climax. The final act, shifts the stage to the world. Mao declares that imperialism, though fearsome in appearance, is a paper tiger. It may roar and threaten, but its foundation is weak, destined to collapse under the weight of people's resistance. This expands the narrative beyond China, linking the revolution with global struggles in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The film now cuts between continents, showing oppressed peoples everywhere rising in parallel scenes. But victory is not won in a day. Mao stresses perseverance. The revolution is a long march, requiring endurance through hunger, exhaustion, and betrayal. In one image, we might see a column of soldiers trudging through snow, their faces gaunt, but their eyes burning with determination. The message is clear: brilliance alone cannot win. Persistence is the true weapon. Then, the story shifts to women. Mao's voice is strong. Women hold up half the sky. The revolution cannot succeed if half the population remains bound in chains. We see women in fields, in factories, in the army, standing as equals. They are no longer hidden in the shadows, but stride openly in the light of struggle. This is a turning point, where the liberation of women becomes inseparable from the liberation of all. From here, Mao emphasizes learning. Not learning in the abstract, but learning from practice, from investigating reality, from uniting theory and action. A revolutionary must be both a thinker and a doer. Knowledge becomes a weapon, no less vital than rifles or plows. But Mao does not pretend to perfection. He admits mistakes will be made. The greatness of revolutionaries lies not in avoiding error, but in acknowledging and correcting it. This honesty is cinematic. A leader before the people, admitting faults openly, showing strength not through denial, but through truth. Finally, the saga ends with a vision of victory. The old world collapses, and in its place rises a new one built on justice, equality, and the power of the people. We see the closing montage: peasants harvesting together, workers building factories, children learning in bright classrooms, women standing shoulder to shoulder with men. It is both an ending and a beginning, a promise of a world reborn. And so the Little Red Book concludes. Across 33 chapters, it has carried us through an epic, from the foundations of revolution, through storms of struggle, to a horizon of hope. It is part manual, part manifesto, part myth. Whether one agrees or not, its impact is undeniable. For millions, it was a daily guide. For history, it was a force that reshaped nations. The lesson that echoes most is simple yet powerful. Ordinary people, united, disciplined, and determined, can change the course of history. That is the closing message of this cinematic journey through the words of Mao Tse-Tung.